Development Bank of Nigeria boosts small businesses with 1 trillion naira. Federal government to deploy 7 million smart meters across Nigeria to an estimated billion. International oil companies not exiting Nigeria, says presidency. Oil rebounds after OPEC Plus sticks to same output hike in July versus June. Asia stocks sink on heightened U.S.-China trade tensions. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. I'll begin with credit rating. President Bola Tinubu has welcomed Moody's Investor Services' recent upgrade of Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer rating from CAA1 to B3 with a stable outlook, describing it as a validation of his administration's commitment to restoring investor confidence, unlocking economic potential, and securing long-term prosperity. Statement by presidential spokesperson Bayo Nanuga said the credit rating upgrade underscores growing international recognition of Nigeria's progress in stabilizing its macroeconomic environment, improving fiscal transparency, strengthening debt sustainability, and implementing the market-driven reforms. The Development Bank of Nigeria, DBN, has reported disbursing more than 1 trillion naira to micro, small and medium enterprises nationwide, contributing to the creation of over 1.2 million jobs. This was revealed by the bank's managing director, Dr. Tony Okpanachi, at the African Development Bank annual meetings held in Abuja. Okpanachi described the disbursement as a significant achievement in DBN's effort to improve financial access for small businesses in Nigeria. He explained that the bank operates a wholesale lending model, providing funds to commercial banks and micro institutions, which then lend to small businesses. Despite the progress, Okpanachi acknowledged that a significant financing gap persists in the MSME sector. Naira ends May 2025 strong against dollar, appreciates in FX markets as reserves rise. How much is the Naira exchange in for other currencies? Let's take a look. Was bold to create a strong, integrated regional bloc that will promote economic development, political cooperation, and social solidarity and peace across the subcontinent. Half a century later, ECOWAS stands as both a testament to regional solidarity and a mirror reflecting the complexities of post-colonial Africa. Now, to speak on its economic achievements, challenges, and future directions is Professor of International Economic Relations, Jonathan Deyemi Aremo. You're welcome to Business Express.
Very much.
Okay, Prof, ECOWAS is marking its 50th anniversary this year. What would you say are its most significant achievements since its founding in 1975?
Thank you very much, and congratulations to everyone listening to me wherever you are. I congratulate the entire ECOWAS member state, despite the fact that we are less three. And I congratulate Nigeria for being among the foremost founding fathers. 50 years is not a joke. And to stay together for 50 years, a marriage of 50 years is not a small marriage. So therefore, I congratulate ECOWAS for having attained 50 years. To talk about the significant achievement, I think apart from the treaty, which have been revised, ECOWAS has moved from a free trade area to customs union, and ECOWAS is already operating some of its policy in common market, which is the third stage of economic integration. When you compare ECOWAS with other regional economic communities in entire Africa, many of them, they have not reached where ECOWAS have reached. You can move from one country to another one with the same Nigerian passport, and then quite a lot of things have been done with respect to common things, in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of industrial policy, in terms of agriculture, which have been commonized. So I think there's a serious reason to congratulate ECOWAS. So a lot has been achieved.
You said a lot has been achieved. How has the vision of ECOWAS evolved over the past 5 decades?
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. It's a very nice one. I think the best thing is to actually evaluate ECOWAS progress with respect to what it committed itself in the treaty. ECOWAS wanted to move from a free trade area that is not charging import duty among member states to the customs union, that is to have a common external tariff, and then from there move on to a common market, and then after a common market, get to an economic union. So far, ECOWAS has moved from a free trade area. On the 1st of January 2015, ECOWAS started operating a customs union. That is to say that all the imports that are coming to ECOWAS country, they come at the same import duty so that there's less trade deflection. That is a very wonderful achievement. Before, you can see some goods will come to the Republic of Benin, and then it can be tagged make in Benin and enter Nigeria. But it's not possible again because it's the same import duty coming into all the member countries. And then, just as I said, you can move from one place to another one, though you can have some little challenges on the road, but at least ECOWAS is trying, because I've been to other regional economic community, and I think ECOWAS is doing very well.
Okay, one of the founding objectives is that of economic integration. Would you say at this point the region has achieved that particular goal?
In fact, it's not one of the reasons. The real name is ECOWAS, which means Economic Community of West African States. The idea is purely an economic thing. It's not a political community. It's an economic community, which means economic integration you are talking about is center, is the fulcrum of what ECOWAS wanted to achieve. That is to say that business can move across borders, and people can move with their business as well. So when you are measuring ECOWAS in terms of economic integration, as I said earlier on, we are leading all the other 7 RECs in Africa. And let me say this again, ECOWAS is now having or putting in place an ECOWAS payment and settlement system that will allow each and every member state to trade in its own domestic currency. I want to buy anything from Ghana now, they just debit me in Naira and credit the exporter in Ghana in CD. I mean, there is no region so far in Africa that is reaching that. And as far back as July 2023, there is a law to that, which is ECOWAS Payment and Settlement Supplementary Act, has been signed by all the head of state of ECOWAS. And that was one of the first in which the current chairman of ECOWAS head of state, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, actually signed. So, my brother, ECOWAS is doing very well.
No, it's good that you made notes that ECOWAS is doing very well. There's this thing, actually, Prof. With rising insecurity and a wave of military coups in West Africa countries, has ECOWAS lost influence or credibility? Because we've seen the likes of Niger, Burkina Faso, and I think Mali have broken away. They decided to go their separate way. So what can you tell me about this particular development?
Yeah, those questions start coming up and up again. I've attended to that question in your office there so many times. And it's not a good thing that three of our member states are leaving. That is to say, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. I've gone to all these countries in ECOWAS, and I'm not happy, and nobody is happy that they are leaving. They have their basis for their living, and they premise it not solely on the thought of ECOWAS or on the thought of economic integration, which they themselves are enjoying. In fact, when we enter African Continental Free Trade Area, all these countries we are talking about, we enter together under customs union, which is the second phase of economic integration. So we did not say that they will leave so soon. But the situation came within their domestic economy, which may not tally with the expectation of ECOWAS member states put together. But it's not a good development that you leave. And I think the door of coming back is still there, because for somebody like me, I'm not happy. Even Mauritania that left in year 2000, they are still having a lot to do with us in ECOWAS, particularly when it comes to negotiation of economic partnership agreement with European Union. So that they are going is not a good development. And I believe that very soon they may be able to actually come back to reunite with their people.
Okay, well, one of the key objectives also is to have a common currency, one currency for, the regional bloc. What are the key obstacles actually preventing full implementation of the ECOWAS common currency? Is it ECO?
Correct. Well, my brother, you are quite correct. When ECOWAS came up, they have 4 stages of economic integration. Stage 1 is free trade area. That is to trade among member states without import duty. Stage 2 is custom union, where they are going to unify all the import duty, so that importing by any ECOWAS country from any other country in the world will be at the same import duty. Then phase 3 is a stage in which we have a common market, where we have common market with terms of agri and industrial policy, investment and everything. And then stage 4 is where we have monetary union or economic union. Let me say this. Stage 4 is the last phase of economic integration by global standard. So, hello.
Stage. Have we gotten to that stage?
That is it. We are not in that stage yet. And therefore, for our ambitious set of states to actually say we want a common currency, even at phase 1, is not economically viable. For us as economists, we came and then when I came to that particular section of ECOWAS Commission, which is macroeconomic policy department, I told my commissioner, sir, Professor Bamba then, sir, yes, we want a single currency. In fact, the man said that we should have a single currency journal, which he put me as one of those people that work on it. I said, but we are just on phase 1. We are not even on phase 2, which is a custom union. It's going to be difficult. These primary and secondary criteria, we shall be forcing our member states to do a hop, step, and jump activity. Somebody who is going to hop, step, and jump can land on his back once he jumps over the rope. But you see, it may not be an easy thing. So what do we do? I said, why don't we actually have a plan B? And what is the plan B? Let us have ECOWAS payment and settlement system. And with the development in IT, you discover that we can actually link our banking system under a payment system of the central banks, so that when I wanted to buy anything from Ghana or from Senegal, they can just debit my account, and then they will pay where I'm importing from in the currency of that particular country. And then we put that one in place, and we work on it. We work with West African monetary WAMA. No, that's West African monetary arrangement. Okay, West African monetary authority. I think that's WAMA. We work with them, and we both agreed that that's the way we are going to go. In fact, let me say this: that when African Continental Free Trade came up, they saw the progress ECOWAS is making with respect to payment system, and they copied it or they used it and established a Pan-African payment and settlement system. So we were doing quite well. And I told you earlier that July 2023, ECOWAS Supplementary Act on Payment System has already been adopted by all the head of state. That is to say, we can trade in our domestic currency. And if you want to marry, you first of all want yourself and your fiancé to know yourself. So these currencies need to know themselves first before they become one. So a payment system will allow that kind of an arrangement in which a boy and girl know themselves before they actually go and sign the dotted line in the church. So that's the duty of a payment system, which makes it to be simple. There's no forcing the convergences. No, simple approach.
Prof, before I let you go, just looking at the future, and in light of the recent withdrawals of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger from ECOWAS, what does this mean for the future of the regional unity we are seeing?
Well, just as I said, nobody is happy about it. Nobody. Because I've traveled to all these countries, I live with many of the officials of ECOWAS and other ECOWAS institutions that we have worked together harmoniously. We are not happy about it. So we are sitting in the comeback. But in terms of what is having as impact, definitely, it will actually reduce the opportunities of trade creation we are going to have among ourselves. Why? Because those countries are even saying that they are going to be imposing an import duty on product coming from other ECOWAS countries, not part of them. So, which is even a violation, to me, against the principle of African Continental that say that there will not be any import duty among member states. So I think the anger went as far as to violating the principle of African Continental Free Trade Area. But I don't think that will work because they are already members of AFTA. So they cannot charge any ECOWAS more, any percent, because AFTA allows 0% or 90% of products. But the one they said, no, any good coming from ECOWAS is going to pay 5%. And we are still part of African Union. So they cannot be saying Kenya will not pay, but ECOWAS will pay. Why? Why punishing ECOWAS countries? No. I think they were just not happy with us. So, but I think everything will be settled. That's my belief.
Okay, Prof, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. Happy 50th anniversary to you and all ECOWAS countries.
Very much.
Now let's head to the commodities market where Egyptian garlic gains ground in U.S. market amid global supply challenges. Let's now take a trip to the commodities market. The federal government of Nigeria says it plans to deploy 7 million smart electricity meters across the country through the Presidential Metering Initiative as part of efforts to eliminate estimated billing and revenue leakages in the power sector. This was disclosed by Special Advisor to the President, Oluveheyen in Abuja in commemoration of the second year of President Tinubu's administration. The special advisor said the rollout of smart meters is key component of the Tinubu administration's strategy to improve the commercial viability of the electricity value chain, particularly the gas-to-power segment. Meanwhile, the presidency has dismissed concerns in certain quarters that international oil companies, IOC, were exiting the country. The special advisor to the president on energy, Olu, who stated this in Abuja, stressed that rather than companies rebalancing and refocusing on deep waters, the special advisor, who was speaking on the second year anniversary of the Tinubu's administration, said that while the IOC breakdancing, the Nigerian independent local players are taking the lead in onshore, according to her. The ground capacity of indigenous firms is evident in their ability to acquire divested assets from IOC. She said the country attained an increase in indigenous equity in gas from 69% to 83%. Oil prices rebounded more than $1 a barrel in Asian trade on Monday after OPEC Plus decided to increase output in July by the same amount as it did in each of the prior 2 months, in line with market expectations. Brent crude futures climbed $1.06 to $63.84 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $61.95 a barrel, up $1.16. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies decided on Saturday to raise output by 411,000 barrels per day in July, the third straight month of increase by the same amount, as the group known as OPEC Plus looks to wrestle back market share and punish overproducers. Nigerian stock market value rises by 1.5 trillion naira in 1 week. Olayinka Ojo has a summary of how stocks fared last week in Nigeria.
The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 2.49% to close the week at 111,742.01 basis points and 70.463 trillion naira. A total turnover of 3.794 billion shares worth 119.394 billion naira in 89,636 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 2.744 billion shares valued at 79.805 billion naira in 36,458 deals, contributing 72.34% and 66.84% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. The consumer goods industry followed with 201.889 million shares worth 7.623 billion naira in 11,922 deals, while the third place was the services industry with a turnover of 173.748 million shares worth 1.719 billion naira in 6,385 deals. Trading in the top three equities, namely United Bank for Africa PLC, Fidelity Bank PLC, and Access Holdings PLC, accounted for 1.942 billion shares worth 61.542 billion naira in 12,443 deals, contributing 51.19% and 51.54% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. For bonds, a total of 76,337 units valued at 75.443 million naira were traded in 39 deals. On summary of price changes, 56 equities appreciated in price during the week, 44 equities depreciated in price, while 48 equities remained unchanged. Olayinka Ojo for Business Express.
Well, let's bring you up to speed with development in this global stocks market. Maria Zachary is our guide. Maria, is over to you.
Thank you, Musa. International equities are bleeding this afternoon. In Europe, investors eye the potential for escalating U.S.-Europe tariffs. Auto stocks on the index are down 1.75%, technology stocks also down 1.2%, and household goods are down 1%. Looking at the figures now, we have DAX of Germany down 0.38%, FTSE also dipped 0.03%, CAC of France is in red at 0.50%. Asia markets are lower after President Trump told U.S. steel workers that he will double tariffs on steel imports to 50%, effective from Wednesday. Nikkei 225 of Japan is in red at 37,470 or 1.30%. We have Shanghai Composite of mainland China at 3,347 or 0.47%. Moving down is Hang Seng Index of Hong Kong at 23,157 or 0.57%. For the first trading day in June, stock futures tumble in the U.S. as global trade tensions heightens. The Dow is downward at 0.26%. S&P 500 follows at 0.34%. We have the Nasdaq Composite reflecting at 0.48%. Africa markets mostly bullish. Unlike other regions, we have South Africa JSE Top 40, which was higher at 0.12%. Tunisia Tin Index was down 0.10%. Namibia All-Share Index gained 0.24%, and Ghana topped 0.25% also. That's it for Global Market. I am Maria Abduzakar. It's back to Musa.
Well, thank you, Mario, for that update. Well, that's it. Business Express returns tomorrow by 9:30 a.m. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.